Hello? Hello, people? Sorry, my phone died. It's amateur hour over here. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, my phone died. I'm dumb. Whoops. Oops. Go back. Sorry, guys. FM84. Nice. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna have to do. Okay, we're good. We're all connected. Alright, so let me show you how I wet blend. I really like this. So you see how my stuff is all ashy looking, right? So you see how that's all ashy looking, right? All the feathers. So I got my bottles over here. I'm gonna add a bunch of water to these, like a bunch. Not a little bit, a lot of water. Okay. That's the trick of turning contrast paints into a wash. But it's also the trick to tinting that white without it getting ruined. So do you see my brush right there? See how you barely see any pigment on the end? Now I'm going to hit the tips of these with it. You see how it just is tinting the very white portions of color? And that's how I get that really nice richness. And it's like I just edge highlighted all those, but without any of the hard work. And it gives me more depth of color in the recesses. Right? So it's called wet blending because I'm going to blend these two together. So now I'm going to go over to my red. And again, I'm going to add a ton of water. Right? Like I'm talking like 20% original contrast, 80% water is what the mix I'm going for. Right? Yep, exactly. And I'm just daubing it on. So here we go with the red, right? So same concept, and I'm just going to go in and I'm going to create a blend in between those two surfaces, right? And that's going to give me my kind of wet blended technique. I'm going to let that orange and yellow kind of mingle. I'm going to put some color up underneath here, right? Use my red as a shadow underneath that. And if I don't like what I've done, again, I just dry my brush and I just take it off. Boom, take it off. I don't like it, it's gone. That's how simple it is. That's how we do it around here. So now I'm going back through and I'm just trying to darken where I want the shadows to be. And then I'm tinting that white edge highlight I put on with my dry brush to tint to a darker color, right? So like these feathers here are coming out real nice. Do a little blending right there. Do you see how that blend goes? Simple, easy. I'm a techniques-based painter. I'm not a talent-based painter, if that makes sense. So I'm going to add a lot more pigment down to the bottom. Ah, my phone died, Jake. I'm an idiot. It's like the same idea of taking flour and adding water to it and watching. Exactly, yeah. Before you go any further, how did you blend the red to orange to the yellow? So originally I airbrushed that. So this is, what I'm doing is I'm doing edge highlights now because I want to make the contrast of it pop even more, right? Now I'm doing wet blending. So, and I'll show you how that process works again. I'll do it with the his head feathers. Sorry, I have a hard time focusing and talking. It's kind of like, I don't know why I'm trying to be a streamer. It's like the worst thing for me. Let me just focus. Let me lock in real quick. Okay. Oh, damn, Jacob. Okay, well, I'll see you tomorrow, buddy. Hopefully I have time to get on tomorrow, but I'll see you next time. Right, but the question I was asking is, how did you mesh the red to the orange to the yellow? So, okay. Let me demonstrate that one more time. So right now, how I did that with my airbrush, at the very beginning, when I was just in the blocked in period, is I added red in here, and I added a drop or two of black ink to make a really dark red, and I just hit it from the bottom. Do you see how that bottom portion is all like a dark red? Right? And then I just put pure red in here, and I just went over the top of it like this, and on the side, and on the side, right? And then from there, I cleaned out the pot, and I added a couple drops of red, and then a couple drops of yellow ink, and I mixed that up, and that gave me kind of a really warmish red-orange. And that's when I started just hitting just the tip, right? And then I started being really accurate. I was just doing the tips of this, the tips of that. I was doing this, I was doing that, I was doing that. Then I came over to the side here, and I hit just orange on this as well. And then after that, I emptied it, I cleaned it all the way out, and then I just put pure yellow in there. And then I just did the very edges, just the edges. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm talking, when I talk about painting the edges, you need to think of the plane of light, right? So if you're looking at where my light's coming from right now, which is this direction right here, when you're painting with an airbrush, you want to paint 90 degrees to the plane of the light. You want to be exactly perpendicular to the lighting of the model. The lighting on this model is straight down, so with that analogy being like this, you want to paint the shadows on the opposite side of the light, and then when you're painting anything that's your brighter colors, you always want to paint 90 degrees to the light side. So it would be like this, right? Always perpendicular 90 degrees to your source of light. And when you're edge highlighting and you're just trying to catch just the edge, you want it to be almost parallel with the surface you're trying to catch. So when I'm trying to do just this, I mean, I am right on the edge here. Just boop, 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 boop. And then boop, 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 boop. And that's how you can just catch the very tips of things. But that's originally how I got the paint blocked in for my gradient. What I'm now doing is just bringing more depth of color into the gradient. But yeah. And you can do the same. You don't have to use an airbrush to get this effect. I could wet blend this just with contrast paints and dry brushing. I can get that same effect. So you don't have to use an airbrush. And honestly, a lot of new painters will say like, oh, I don't have an airbrush, so I can't do that. On some of the best painting I've ever seen, whether it's OSL or object source lighting, right, your glow effects, or, you know, blends and whatnot, they're always hand painted. So you can always get amazing effects with hand painting. Like right now, you're seeing me make that blend just with my contrast paints. I'm just bringing out those values that the airbrush originally placed in for me, right? For sure, dude. What's up, Borv? You're bringing more depth of gradient into the color, dude. As much gradient, as much contrast, as much depth. I mean, if this was a pool, it would start black and white and be deep as the Mariana, dude. That's the plan, brother. How you been, Borv? If that's okay. Yeah, of course, dude. Yeah. Maybe we can set up a little tutor sesh, you know, like a couple hours or something, you know? I I'll show you how to paint better than everyone in your store. How about that? Maybe not, I can't say guaranteed, but I can say you'll have the tools to be better than them. How about that? Because at the end of the day, you want yours to look the best on the table, right, fellas? I mean, that's just who we are, right? Got done with spooky season? Nice, dude. Back to the hobbying, brother. Yeah, definitely. Do a little paint tutorial on a different colors, you know, a couple different vibes. So I'm gonna wait for this to dry, and then I'm gonna bring in my I'll show you how I do my metallics, and then I'll bring in my my brown as well. Nice, Sebas. Thanks for dropping by. Sometimes I just use some wash to deal with it, since I also do not have an airbrush. Yeah. Well, you can make great blends with washes. Seriously, you really can. What's up, 40 what? The Giant Lord? Ugh. Are you talking about all feats? You mean limbs boy? We have officially blocked in all of the legs. That's where we're at. We've blocked in all the arms and legs. The next thing is we need to block in the remainder of all of this. Once that's blocked in, I can start gluing stuff together and then doing my oil washes, and then I'll be able to do my final highlights and move on with my life. I'm not gonna lie, I've been taking a lot of time. Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate that, Sebas. Is it Seabass? Probably not Seabass. Probably Sebas. I appreciate that, man. Thanks for hanging out with me. What's up? Huh? I think I said that name right. Huh? So, I think what we're going to try and do tomorrow is we will do a couple more shadows. Then we will do edge highlighting with the brush. And then we will do my metallics. And then if I'm happy with it, then I'll call it. If I'm not happy with it, we'll do a whole nother round of dry brushing and washes and maybe some edge highlighting. But it's looking pretty similar to this guy. It's looking pretty good. It's a lot warmer. This one kind of toned down the darkness a little too much. So the goal with this one was to make it a little bit brighter. So I'm trying to finish this up so I can send it back to Resin Reborn. Fantastic 3D printing company, by the way. They're really good people over there. You can check out their website if you ever want a 3D model. Oh, thanks, Borv. Oh, Borv. You're too nice. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I have a cool little fun video on my TikTok of this guy. Okay, let me tell you what I don't like about this. I don't like that the cow and his little handkerchief, those tones don't work very well together because it doesn't show off the crown, his like helmet and his face that well, and it mutes his skin tone a little too much. So I wish I had done either a brighter color or maybe this green for the cloak. So we're going to test out different colors on the next one. A Final Fantasy war game. I know, everyone comes in, they're so excited for it to be Final Fantasy. This is actually from Resin Reborn. They printed this off from me, but the 3D modeler is Clay Beast Creations, and he has an amazing proxy line for Age of Sigmar, and this is a part of his Sand Lords. So they're sand elves. And the plan originally was to paint them in kind of a Dune style, but it ended up just being really fun Final Fantasy. But yeah, Borf, you're so nice. But thank you. They're turning out all right. If you want to see a couple different models I've done, here's my Biologist Putrefier. This was a really fun model to paint. It's hard to beat Citadel quality minis too. They're so nice. There's my 3D printed Assassin. Vindicar Assassin, I think, is what they're called. Maybe not Vindicar. Here's one of my printed off. What's it called? Attilan Rough Riders. I wanted them to look Cadian. Yeah, I very rarely paint eyes, but that eye didn't come out too bad. I still need to finish this model. I never finished painting his face or his gloves. I really just wanted to paint the horse. Let's see, what else do I have around here that's kind of cool. And of course we have Big Boy. I don't know, did you guys ever see the finish of this model? I just have to base it. I haven't done a post for him yet. I do have a couple final touches. I want to fix the face a little bit. But he came out all right. Yeah, this one I'm pretty happy with. That one came out pretty good. And then here's my Big Boy. This is my, what kind of started off I was just painting something for fun that ended up starting a streaming career, was this guy here. And he's still a work in progress. I've done his glow effects like 10 times. I need to eventually just call it a day and be happy with it. But yeah, very fun model. Very cool. Also, all of these, this was done by Clay Beast Creations as well. Thanks, Sebas. Well, and if you're interested, that big giant, the one I just showed you, that one you can watch on my YouTube channel. I have a full-length video on how I painted it, and it's all sped up, so you can watch me be like, you know, just all crazy fast. It's really fun. I think a Final Fantasy War game would do very well. You should hit up that company and say that you'll start it for them. Yeah, Sebas, yeah. No one's watched it, so I spent a lot of time on it for no one to watch it. But I'm very proud of it. It's a pretty cool video in my opinion. I also go through kind of my painting style and my, you know, my different mantras, my different techniques. But yeah, I'm probably going to call it for painting for tonight. I think we got pretty far on him. Tomorrow we will try and finish him up and do some final touches on him, on the bird. And then we will go on and paint his rider, which has a really cool bow. So we'll paint the rider tomorrow. I got into this hobby years and years and years ago. I was playing Dungeons and Dragons with my friends, and I used to be like an art major way back in the day, but I ended up being an electrician. It's a long story. Basically, I failed college, like a lot of us do. So we were playing D&D, and all my friends wanted to have painted models. So I went to the store and just bought a bunch of really cheap models, and I painted them up. I just bought the worst paints you could possibly buy for it, and I just made it happen. And then one of my friends, he said, you know, the Warhammer models are really cool. You should check them out. And I said, shut up, nerd, you know? So then I started painting a lot of D&D models because I really enjoyed the process, and I started building up my collection of paints and materials. I opened up an Etsy store, and I used to sell D&D models just real cheap, and I would paint them and sell them for 20 bucks or whatever. And then I started doing commissions on that. And then my friend finally sold me into painting Warhammer, and we both went and got a box of Warhammer, and I started with Tau. And yeah, I just started painting Tau. I painted up a couple tanks as well. I painted up this, this is a Tamiya Bulldog, American Bulldog. And this was probably the first model where I really started getting serious about painting. Right, I did a lot of weathering effects on this one. Like my favorite part is, you see where they get up to get into the hatch here? I made them look like they kicked it and then grabbed it with their hand there and then popped in. But this, and then I did the rust effects just freehand with just orange paint and brown paint. It's really dusty. I should really clean this off. This is actually what I based my Astra Militarum army off of. But yeah, and then I just slowly convinced a couple more friends to start painting Warhammer with me. Until eventually, now I have like 7 armies, and I'm kind of addicted to the whole process of it, you know. But yeah, to show you some of my boys for my Astra Militarum army. This is a Death Corps of Krieg painted in a World War II kind of G.I. Joe style. And this is actually where I developed my current style, because I painted this guy in about 20 minutes, right? Because I had like 60 of them to paint, so each one only took about 20 minutes to paint, and they came out pretty good, I think. But yeah, this is where I learned kind of my style. This guy I spent a little bit more time on. Did kind of a fast power sword on. But yeah, and then this is really when I started experimenting with OSL. So it looks like I wanted it to look like it was nighttime and the tank was shining, and I wanted my buddies to be, you know, I don't know. I really like Warhammer. It's super fun. It really is. And what's fun about it is there's something for everyone, I feel like, you know? Oh, thanks, buddy. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a slow build-up in skill and a lot of troubleshooting, and now I just enjoy streaming and making videos, trying to uncomplicate this hobby, you know? I feel like a lot of people have complicated painting minis, you know? I try and tell people that I don't really, I'm not a painter. It's not like I'm painting a canvas. I'm really just painting edges. I'm painting edges, and it's mainly color theory and light theory. It's mainly where most of why my stuff looks good. I'm not actually that good at painting. It's just using the models to paint themselves, you know? Anyways, I think that's where we're going to call it for tonight. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. And Sebas, it was nice talking to you. I hope to see you again on my Twitch. My TikTok is really popular, but I don't get much love on Twitch or on YouTube, so I'd love if you had hopped in again, come hung out. So, anyways, thanks again for hanging out with me. Tomorrow we're going to paint up, again, we're going to paint up this guy, finish him off. He's about 90% done. Fix a couple shadows on him, and then do my edge highlights with my brush. And then we're going to paint this other elf here. And yeah, should make for a fun night. And then hopefully on Wednesday I can start getting back into painting Big Boy here, which he is honestly pretty close to being ready. And this is what I call the blocking in stage. Okay, this is his hand that goes here. And this hand goes like so. So yeah, this will probably be Wednesday if you guys want to tune in again. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I'll catch you guys later.